So here we go, part 34 of Motorsport Manager Mobile 3 Career Mode. I'll take the extra 10 performance points, thank you very much. Only 500k, pretty decent. Or it was 500k in terms of free money, which, you know, either or, I'll take both, pretty decent. So, once again, the supplier network is always something to be looked at before any race. And a part build complete, that's also pretty fantastic stuff. So, there we are, just buying some new, or getting the new parts, which is fantastic for the car. Because of course, everyone else is going to be developing, it's to be expected. I can't expect everyone else just to stand still. So it will be an interesting couple of races here, whether we can fully get the advantage that we should be seeing from these parts, but it's just one of those things. We'll see over the next couple of events whether it has worked out for us here. So once again, we're seeing new mechanics, engineers, they're all coming to us saying we want to work for you, but I'm also thinking none of them are quite worth it. But I'm also thinking maybe let's do it. So I obviously forgot what happened in this one, because we've obviously gone and does that, I think, renewed a contract, but still there was always that thing in the back of my mind. I want to replace some of them because some of their leadership is terrible, but at the same time that the money it's going to cost is also a little bit eye-watering sometimes. So headquarters looking pretty good, supply networks looking pretty good, all sponsors intact. Invitational event, no thank you, but thanks for the offer. I mean, we'd maybe have done them earlier on in the career mode, but they're really good for gaining money earlier on in the career mode, but right now I don't really need them so much. But Monaco is up next. Pretty much the best track on the calendar for most people. People love this track. I mean, maybe in terms of racing it isn't great, but in terms of prestige, I guess it's right up there with some of the iconic tracks of Formula 1 history. And maybe like the Nordschleife or something like, I guess Silverstone for us British fans, Spa, Monza. It's one of those, but I guess for the whole world, because of just the glamour and the glitz of it all, it is, some people see it as a very special race. Personally, don't enjoy the racing so much, but hopefully we get a good qualifying here. We can just hold everyone up. That's the aim, right? So I think this might be the first time this season we've got the option to have the ultra soft tyres on the car. So let's see what happens here. First run, it's quite a short lap time here, so I'm hoping, I've got everything crossed that we can get a good run in straight away, but under no illusions the setup should only get better, and of course under no illusions that we're not a very good car in comparison to the rest. But I wasn't quite expecting a second and a half off everyone. That was kind of worrying. Now that setup card really did me there. That was not a great setup card to get. Obviously it's high risk, high reward with some of those setup cards, and obviously sometimes it can go terribly wrong. And that's sort of what happened there, because we basically paid out the full mechanics bars on one card, which isn't generally what you want to do. But a pretty decent setup on the second driver, and I think that should help us out a little bit here. So Nixon 6 tenths, nearly 7 tenths off anyone else. Stewart about another tenth of a second back. We've got about another tenth of a second on Catano cars. Carlos Sain just ahead of Solar. That's basically what it's been like for the majority of the season. And then we got enough of an advantage over Kjovich and the rest of the grid. So we're pretty much always guaranteeing ourselves top 10, which is fantastic. But it's good for the sponsor objective, especially because that's what it is, I think. But I don't know. I feel the annoyance of the midfield teams in Formula 1, because when you sort of run into an invisible wall, because there's nothing I can do to beat the cars in front of me. They're just so much quicker. And I know I'm complaining about a game, and it's just like, why is this happening? But obviously everyone tries to improve, everyone tries to be better. And of course it's not great to see that you're 4 tenths off the top 3 teams. But that's the way it goes. And if we get a good enough start, maybe that's not a terrible position to be. But nonetheless, we go into the final stages now. Qualifying here at Monaco. Are we going to improve? Green sectors are coming up. 8th, 7th. Pretty decent. But is that going to be improved upon us? Is anyone else going to go anywhere quicker? So we've got the Catano cars, Solar. Actually, they have Carlos Sain, which doesn't happen too much. But I feel like we're in a pretty good position there, actually. That's a bit closer to the front pack than I expected. That's 3 tenths of a second instead of the 4 or 5 tenths of a second that we are normally expecting. So that is definitely much better than I thought. I'm happy with that one. So now the race. Of course, we expect to finish P7 and P8, but you know, if we get something a little bit better, we'll see. But of course, when you're in the position of not much to gain, but I guess a lot to lose, you've got to be sensible in your decision making. Because let's be real, I shouldn't really finish much lower than 7th or 8th. And I probably won't finish much higher than 7th or 8th. So I just need to make sure I finish 7th and 8th. And of course, if any cars have retirements in front of me, then I can capitalise on. But it's just about running a sensible strategy, really, and just picking up the points. Now, of course, that's not exactly how you want to run a season. But when you've got a bit of a clear advantage or disadvantage ahead of you and a bit of a clear advantage behind you, I guess it's sort of what you can do, really. So I tried 2 different strategies here. Hypersofts with Stewart, Ultrasoft with Nixon. So weirdly, you would have thought the Stewart would have the better start, but that wasn't really the case here. Nixon on the Ultrasoft tyres somehow gets up to 4th place there for a brief second. Of course, it won't last. They will get past me eventually and they will pull away. But it's a nice feeling, nearly running in the podium positions at Monaco. That's a pretty special feeling. And of course, if it was real life Monaco, they probably wouldn't really be able to overtake me. But of course, it's a game and the game mechanics don't work quite like real life. They don't realise it's Monaco, and Monaco is impossible to overtake at. So I think it is interesting. I mean, let's be perfectly honest, Monaco in real life is much more down to a pit strategy, tyre strategy than racing. It's not really down to speed as much. I mean, you've seen in the past, people that are 2 or 3 seconds quicker than someone else get stuck behind them. They just can't overtake. It's just that impossible. So you can see here, pretty good start. Both cars are in the top 10. Salah is having a pretty good weekend, to be fair to him. He's splitting us right now. He's on the Hypersoft tyres and pretty much matching Stewart in terms of the wear rate, which I guess is pretty decent. But Nixon on the Ultrasoft tyres, to be fair to him, is doing a better job than quite a lot of the field who are on Hypersofts. I mean, 5 or 6 drivers, I think, on Hypersoft tyres. So he's doing a pretty good job to be ahead of them, to be perfectly honest. So 13 laps remaining here. We've got to start thinking about doing a pit stop, and that's exactly what we do here on lap number 10 here with Stewart. We're going to get rid of those Hypersoft tyres and put on some Ultrasoft tyres. I'm still always very surprised with how quick these pit stops are, but unfortunately, even though that pit stop was okay, I mean 6 seconds is quite slow for an F1 pit stop. She came out in a lot of traffic there, which was P14 and lots of slower cars around, so it's going to be a tough ask to get past here. And Nixon sort of got himself right behind Lipponen, but Lipponen already pitted, so let's see what happens here. Stewart comes out just behind Nixon, so it's all going off here. And De Graaf, I don't know what's happened to De Graaf there, whether Rossini double stacked or something, but weirdly enough, De Graaf has come out behind Nixon. So Nixon and De Graaf both on the Hypersoft tyres. It's just going to be a really interesting finale here. Can we stay ahead of a car that's inevitably quicker? But we're in a pretty good position right now, 6th and 8th. I'm happy with that. And we've got a nice gap behind us, a virtual safety car. That's the first time we've seen that this season. I guess it was only, it was likely it was going to happen at Monaco of all places. So just to be safe here, I just put everything into conserve and safe mode just to make sure that the car's in as good a condition towards the end of the race as possible. It should really help out Stewart a little bit more than it helped Nixon, because Nixon's pretty good in terms of all things tyre life and fuel. He's saving so much fuel behind the virtual safety car, Nixon. You can see he's getting half a lap's worth of fuel there by just running it. He's got a really good trait on him there that just helps him conserve fuel. You can see I was just waiting for the safety car to end and blast out of it. But I gained a little bit out of the virtual safety car, but I'm still 10 seconds behind P5. But I was just praying, 5 laps remaining, can I hold De Graaf behind? I'd be surprised if we'd managed to. But I was hoping, it's Monaco, surely he's not really meant to overtake me, he's not that much quicker. But then obviously you realise it's a game, and in games unfortunately it's easier for drivers to just overtake in the tunnel and stuff like that. But we put up a fight for a couple of corners, we gave it our best shot, and unfortunately it just wasn't to be. He just was too quick for us really, and we just tried pushing like crazy to try and keep up with him, but it just really wasn't possible. But we put in a respectable performance. We definitely put in a respectable performance here in Monaco. 7th and 8th as we go on to the last lap of this race here. And ahead of Kjavich, or Carlos Sainz now in P9. A nice healthy margin over him for Stewart. So it looks like it's going to be another nice point haul for the team. And it's the usual positions here, 7th and 8th. it felt like 6th was sort of on the cards there today, but it didn't quite all go to plan. And Noir bounces back from obviously a naughty drive-through penalty from the last race to bring home a victory here in Monaco, which I guess as a French driver Noir will be happy with. So overall, as always, pretty happy with that result. It's the typical 10 points that we get in every race weekend, but we did improve a little bit in the first race weekend, meaning we're a little bit further ahead, and Nixon's just ahead of Stewart in the standings there. So I'm pretty happy with that. 4th place, pretty secure right now. A nice big margin over 5th place in the standings. But that's pretty much it for this episode. So thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you did enjoy it. Subscribe if you're new. And I'll see you around soon. Hopefully you guys have a great day. Obviously remember to drop a like on the video enjoyed. And subscribe if you're new. It's been Axe and I'm out of here. Goodbye.